Our next guest is Amer, a Palestinian-American comedian who, after travelling the world, has finally made his way to us.
I was performing in London, this guy in the front row, I look at him, I was like, excuse me, sir, what part of England are you from? He loses his mind. He's like, oh, I'm not British, I'm Australian. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. And all these Australians popped up like little minions, like, aye. I was like, whoa, hey. I didn't realize it was so offensive to mistake an Australian for being British. I just looked at him. I was like, my God, man, the British flag is inside of your flag. It's in the top left-hand corner, FaceTiming your flag.
Would you please welcome Amer? No, before we begin, do we actually sound that British? You've been watching backstage. No.
No, you guys don't sound British at all. You just sound like a cousin. It's just
like the better cousin?
Yes, the better, much better. Yes. Yes, of course, it's the best. And when I'm in London, I'm gonna say the opposite.
Spoken like a true comedian, actually.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in, mate. I know you're not like a standard American comedian because you've just shown knowledge of geography by knowing at least 2 flags around the world.
Wow.
So it's exciting to have you here in Australia.
Thank you. So I don't want to say thank you. You just insulted my country. I remember this old joke. There was a guy on stage and he was talking about how, he was in the state of Alabama and he was like, you guys, do you know that you're 48th in education? And a guy in the crowd goes, out of how many? So,
So congratulations on the Netflix show.
Thank you.
No, it's a fantastic show.
Appreciate
and it's
it.
sort of loosely based on your experience as someone seeking asylum in the United States. You're doing all sorts of crazy things, selling dodgy sneakers out the back of a car, all that stuff. Did that stuff really happen to you?
Well, I mean, most of the show is based about my life. The asylee, immigration, refugee process is 100% it. I mean, some of the things in the series itself was literally copy-paste, and some of it was fictionalized, obviously for performance, to really challenge myself and really support the entire story of the season. Yeah.
So in this show, there's a lot of stuff about hummus.
Yeah.
Now, you have opinions about do's and don'ts on hummus, don't you? You're very firm on this.
I do have a lot of opinions on it. I just want to hear how you say hummus. You were like scared and very timid to say hummus.
Waleed should have asked that question somehow.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's obviously hummus etiquette that people are unaware of. First of all, most hummus that you see on the streets now is not actually hummus. It's very lumpy and it's not proper. Everybody's dipping carrots and celery, which is absurd. Don't do this. There's somebody in the audience who feels attacked. They're like, oh, no, I love dipping it with celery. You know what I mean? Get out of here! Get out!
We'll have them removed. Don't worry.
It's really just about, giving due from where the foods actually come from and tipping the hat to the culture that truly, where it actually came from and what it's about.
I get mine from Woolworths.
Yeah, that's not where you get it from. I was actually very upset. Somebody gifted me hummus in Auckland, and it's literally one of the smoothest hummuses that I've ever had in my life. And they confiscated it at security. Oh, no. And I spent 15 minutes debating that this was chickpeas and not a spreadable paste. There's a big yet subtle difference of why they should let me take it and bring it into Australia. However, I failed miserably. But not before I opened it and grabbed a little pinky cheese. Put it in my mouth.
Did the right thing. One of the things I do love about the show is that you it's such a light touch with heavy material, and sometimes you humanise people out of nowhere. So in the current season, there's this moment where you meet, let's call a border security guard, and he's horrible to you, every racist trope, all that sort of stuff. And then as you're leaving, you get out of the situation. You could make this guy just a horrible character, but you somehow give him a backstory that makes you think of him in a more complex way.
Yeah, when I was writing the show, I mean, there's a lot to cover. There's clearly like the Palestinian issue, the fact that I am Palestinian, that migrated to Houston, fled the Gulf War, dealing with generational displacement. But there's also all these other storylines within that process, meaning like getting in a detention center, for instance, which you're referencing. And my character in episode 2 of season 2, he's in a detention center. And then as I was writing it, I started thinking about, like, it's not only of course, the most important people to me are all those marginalized communities that are subjected to such experiences as a detention center and exploring what that world would be, but also thinking about, like, oh man, this detention center officer is essentially in a prison of his own, right? He's there every day, you know, maybe 5, 6, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. And what does that do to the human heart and spirit? Does that shift, you know, how you see other people, and do you die a little bit inside over time? So it was initially like 2 characters, and I decided to just make it one so we could truly explore that properly. And I think it's important to do that for many reasons. Not only see inside of that detention center, see what stories that other people are going through themselves, while also showing my character's absurdity of being also a refugee, but also a privileged refugee in his own right. And then, you know, exploring what that officer is dealing with himself.
On that complexity.
Yeah, you didn't see that coming, did you?
You
It's well thought out.
You speak so beautifully about it. So how do you go then with sort of reconciling world events and how much you let them either intrude, influence, or affect or inform your work, your comedy?
Well, this is a big thing. Like, you know, I've been waiting all these years to get my own television show, and clearly being the only Palestinian who created a show, started the show, and writing the show, it was an immense responsibility to tell an honest story. And after the events of October 7th, there was a lot of pressure to cover specifically October 7th, and I felt like it was a trap considering there was so much history that was involved there. First of all, it's a comedy show, you know, that obviously and has a lot of drama baked into it just by the nature of the subject matter. But also, like, it would be a year later, a year would have passed before the show even comes out, so a lot of would change. And also, for context, what the life was like before October 7th for a Palestinian. And then also, if we did dive into October 7th, and I attempted to write about it in that post-October 7th world, you lost touch with all the characters. It became a full-blown drama. You really didn't know anything about each individual in the show. And then the most important thing for me is if the family was, you know, in the finale, in the season finale, for them to go back to Palestine and experience that. If we wrote about a post-October 7th world, then clearly the family can never go home. And that's never been seen before on American television or any network around the world, surely in the West. So I wanted to make history, but also, you know, tell a very honest and sincere story. And that's what it is. I'm extremely proud of it. I think it's one of the greatest things I've ever done in my life. I feel like I fulfilled a big purpose. And the next move is correcting the hummus situation.
Very important.
Say it one more time.
Hummus.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good, Steve. I
Had
give
some
it
of the
to you.
letters, Mo is taking his stand-up show around Australia. Ticket details are on our website. Would you please thank Mo Amer?